How to be the main character. When we watch shows and cartoons like Disney films, where we have the main character who's usually the underdog.
Penalty is for stealing!
No! No, please!
Oh, thank you, kind sir. I'm so glad you found her. Come back here, you little thieves!
And of course we love an underdog, right? Because we want to see their story of how they've come up to achieve their dream, to achieve their goal. For example, Aang or Naruto.
Why didn't you tell us you were the Avatar?
Because I never wanted to be.
But Aang, the world's been waiting for the Avatar to return and finally put an end to this war.
And how am I going to do that?
How can we use these stories to kind of follow that mindset of being, happy-go-lucky, carefree, but at the same time ready to tackle the world in front of us? What we need to do is kind of understand their mindset, that they will do anything to achieve their goal, regardless of how long it takes or what they have to go through to see their goals realized.
To be the greatest Hokage! Then the whole village will stop disrespecting me and start treating me like I'm somebody important.
Well, he's grown up in a very interesting way.
So already we can see that the mindset may be different. Maybe our mindset is more of a part-time thing of where, we want to be the main character, but we're not really trying to play the role. We just turn up when we feel like it. To actually be the main character, you have to be about your business. You actually have to show up when it's time. But not only when it's time, be prepared beforehand to be prepared for today. So, it's a full-time job. It's not a part-time job. So that's step one. But to really understand their story and why they're like this, we need to really understand what stories actually are. And this all boils down to conflict.
And everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked.
Conflict is what makes a story interesting. It's what gives us the substance of the story, and it opens up the ability to have a storyline, because without any conflict, it's just a peaceful days, and there's not really much to talk about. There has to be somewhere where the line kind of diverges. And they're trying to get something back. So that could be, somebody is stopping the person or suppressing the person, and they need to find a way to realize their dream and follow their route outside of society, kind of pinning them down. As much as we would hope for smooth sailing, just like in real life, there's conflicts that are inevitable. People being people, there are always going to be core conflicts that happen day to day, even in real life, which can be understood, which will help in your development as the main character.
You strive for your justice, and I strive for mine. We're both just ordinary men who have been driven to seek vengeance in the name of justice. And if one comes to call vengeance justice, such justice will only breed further vengeance and trigger a vicious cycle of hatred.
To really understand why we love an underdog, it's because we start to see what is actually suppressing him and stopping him from his goals. And with that piques our interest and curiosity to understand what he's going to do, how he's going to do it, what trials and tribulations will he have as he goes on his adventure. Or she, let me say, or she. And then from this conflict, we start to see what they're actually like. We get to peer into their mind, actually see who they really are when they encounter conflict. Will they actually back up their words and do what they said they would? Or will they cower? Will they be afraid? Will they run? Will they be brave? Will they show up? Will they try to help? You really start to understand who this character really is. Like, you start to understand the personality and the actual principles and morals of the person when it's actually crunch time, when the actual fight happens, when there's actually something to prove that he's more than just talk.
もうこれで終わってもいい。
Conflict equals a character plus a want plus an obstacle. So let's look at some of the fundamental main types of conflicts that there are. And the first one is person versus self. This comes down to flaws and struggles with our own existence. For example, this could be having an internal dialogue of the classic angel and devil, where you're really just in two minds, you're in your own head of overthinking things, you know, self-doubt, worry, fear, or, you know, it could even be happiness, but that could be completely on the opposite side as well, where you're too happy-go-lucky, you're kind of, you know, you're an airhead, you don't really have much going for you.
You're not just gonna let him die like that, are you?
My shoulder angel.
Don't listen to that guy. He's trying to lead you down the path of righteousness. I'm gonna lead you down the path that rocks.
I'll come off it.
You come off it.
You,
Infinity.
Ah.
Listen up.
So this really comes down to who you really are when nobody's watching, but also who you think you are versus who you really are.
Why, God? How did I disappoint you?
You were incapable of believing in yourself.
Who the hell do you think you are?
Who am I? One name you might have for me is the world. Or you might call me the universe. Or perhaps God. Or perhaps the truth. I am all, and I am one. So, of course, this also means that I am you.
No!
This despair is reserved for the boastful.
Just tell me what I was supposed to do!
You brought this outcome upon yourself.
What'd I do wrong? What should I have done?
You simply must have seen the answer with your own eyes.
If you know certain things, you know, drain you more than others, or certain people or certain things, it's about being accountable and understanding yourself within and taking action upon that. And usually words of just, oh, please stop, is not going to help. So violence has to be incorporated in the world.
Easy for you all to understand. Acknowledge me as Emperor!
Lelouch, I insist that you stop joking around like that. We hear and obey your majesty.
All hail Emperor Lelouch!
All hail Lelouch! All hail Lelouch!
So having to come to terms with the idea that violence does, you know, solve problems, you start to see how this conflict does affect Aang over time, and it changes his personality and not really his outlook, but it changes him by force because he's had to adapt to the times. His mindset was always in the same direction, he's always been in the same, you know, wavelength of trying to do things his own way. And we can really see that from when he fought Ozai, because he still managed to do it in a way that followed his way of life, right? He said to the other avatars that he doesn't want to kill him. They would say, you know, that's life, like you're the avatar, you have to do what you was chosen to do. But he decided, no, I'm going to do things that I see fit, and which essentially he took his powers away from him. In a way, it was a little bit more disrespectful to Ozai, because now he's been made naked, right? He's powerless in a power in a magical world, right? So, and additionally, he didn't have, you know, the honor to die in battle. So we can really see that, cool, we can't control all the external factors, but we can control ourselves, right? As I said, you need to know yourself. So you can control what you do and how you act, and like, you know, what you do about the end result, what you do. Like, you don't have to always result to the first thing that comes up in your mind, or the most violent thing that comes in your mind. There might be other ways to do it, and that could be enough to leverage you, you know, in a better direction. So next we have person versus person, which is our classic, you know, classic trope, classic cliche of having rivals or good guy versus bad guy with the same goal or different goals. It always comes down to the wills of the two people. Who is willing to do more? Who's more determined? You know, when those two wills clash against each other, who's willing to do more? Who's willing to come on top? So as you, the main character, there will be other people, other situations where they're not maybe intentionally trying to, you know, ruin your day, ruin your flow, ruin the structure that you have been built, but now it comes again down to a battle of wills. Say your friends ask you to go out and drink, but you don't want to drink, for example, on this day or whatever, like you don't want to drink in this time. Now it comes down to, will they be able to maybe guilt trip you or convince you, or will you have the willpower to say, no, I'm okay, I'm comfortable enough to not drink because I've already said I don't want to drink, right? So that's what it means to be having the battle of the wills. Who has more fortitude, who has the mental fortitude in their mind to decide what they want and whether they're going to succumb to it or they're going to, you know, stand their ground. And also understanding that nobody's going to do it for you. So, you know, you can be upset about society suppressing you and, you know, holding you down, but you crying about it all day and doing nothing about it, nothing's going to change, right? Like the White Knight on Pegasus is not going to come down and save you. And remember, it's very important that you embrace the conflicts in your life because they make for an exciting story. So one day when you're old and dusty and crusty, you can tell your grandchildren of the grand adventure that you had, really achieving the goals that you felt like you was destined to achieve, and you actually went out and done it. I really hope you was able to gain some sort of value of understanding how you can be the main character in your life and be a good one at that. So anyways,